Hello everybody, it's your boy Dandin from EverQuest on the Bristol Bane server. How's everybody doing today? Today I decided to make a video on the new heroic enchanters that just came out, heroic characters in general. Big changes have been happening in EverQuest over the past couple weeks. With the anniversary events that have come out, Sony has done some really cool things for us as players to make coming back to EverQuest a really fun experience. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this is, basically, you can go into EverQuest on any server, and up until March 26th, you can go and create a free level 85 character of any class. In addition to that, we also have something called the Auto Grant AAs. And for those of you familiar with the EverQuest franchise, AAs are basically just alternate abilities, things that you can level up and get skills in and sync them in, and with the addition of the alternate advancement grant, you can get a bunch of them for free. So you can start the game with a full set of gear, a full set of spells, and a nice set of alternate advancement, so you can get in there and start playing with your friends. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Dandin. I am a level 100 Enchanter on the Bristol Bane server, and I decided to kick back and start making a video series on the Enchanter class for those of you who may have some questions. So I'm going to break this series down into a couple different parts so that the videos aren't too long. So let's just hit it off. Let's start with your basic setup. So as you can see here, I've already set up my UI window the way that I like it. But for those of you who are just starting out and looking at your character windows, your UI is not going to look anything like this at all. So you're going to have to sit back, make your windows, your chat windows, and you can do that by just right-clicking on this window here that they give you and click New Chat Window, and that'll pop up another window. Then you can go and filter all the fun stuff that you want to each window by going into the filter setting and just playing around in these here, choosing what you want to go where. Now that you know how to make windows and stuff, you can also go into the EverQuest button here and go into Actions, and you can pull up these hotbars and hotkeys and stuff. But in terms of UI setup, that's personally a personal decision, so I will allow you guys to do it so. But let's jump right into this to the spell lineup for general combat, and we will get into AAs here in a minute. So, to explain the Enchanter class a little bit, Enchanters are a crowd control utility kind of class. We offer a lot to the group. Our primary role is to control NPCs that are around us and make them weaker so our friends can kill them. So basically, we'll start with the basics. So we have Bark of Tashan. Bark of Tashan basically is a magic resist debuff. So anything that lands with magic will land a little bit easier with Tash. It's a nice quick 1-second cast, very low on the mana, so it's something that you should lead with on every NPC. And then we'll go into Desolate Deeds. Desolate Deeds is a melee slow, so basically anything you put Desolate Deeds on a monster, he'll hit you and your friends a lot less often. Then we go into our Cripple. It's called Fragmented Consciousness. And what that allows you to do is to lower the monster's attack rate and overall strength, so he's actually hitting your party members for less damage. So as a Enchanter, with these 3 spells, you've lowered his magic resist, you've slowed him down, and you've made him weaker. So that alone is huge in combat and is something that you should get into the habit of doing all the time. Now, let's get into a little bit of a more defensive stance. We have Polychaotic Rune. What this is, it's a rune that's going to appear on your target window, and we are silk casters, so a rune basically allows us to absorb a set amount of melee damage. So if you're getting hit, this rune will save you for a little bit and protect you so that you're not getting your butt kicked. Another cool little thing about this rune here is that when this rune fades, you will actually cast a stun, and everything around you in a short radius will get stunned. But I'll go over that more in the buffing section of the video that I will make later. Now let's go into a little bit more combat ability combat spells. So we have two direct damage spell lines here that are given to you at 85. They are Polychaotic Assault and Polychromatic Assault. These are just basic direct damage spells that will hit your target for a set amount of damage, and then that's it. So these two nukes right here are basically something that you're going to chain. And then we have Mind Twist. Mind Twist is a damage over time spell which will slowly hit your target every once in a while, every 6 seconds for a set amount of damage. It lasts a short while, and then it will fade. So, nice, easy way to amp up some damage here for your group. Alright, let's talk crowd control, our main role, what people are looking for Enchanter. And we'll kind of explain a little bit of the basics before we get into it. Enchanters have a couple of ways to crowd control an enemy. We have stuns, which basically make your target sit there and do absolutely nothing. They don't do any damage, they don't cast, they don't do anything for about 6 seconds. And then once that 6 seconds is up, it's like they're back in combat again. There are some monsters that are immune to this and other methods of crowd control, but we'll get into that in a second. Then we have mesmerization. What mezzing is, it's essentially like putting something to sleep. So if you mez something that's trying to hurt you, it will not do anything for a set amount of time, usually about a minute or so, depending on the spell, and it will do absolutely nothing. So I'm just going to zone into a quick combat zone here so I can show you the basics of these things here, and then we will get started. Basically, as an enchanter, it's your job to control everything around you. So, you know, if your friends are trying to kill stuff, they pull too many monsters, well, that's where you come into play here. You can sit back and help control the fight so that things are a little bit easier to understand for your party members. So, let me finish zoning here and we will get started. You also find some handy little tips in these windows here as you zone, so make sure you check those out. So let's go find something to play with here. So, EverQuest is a very, very large game. There's a lot of different areas to go fight and hang out. When you create your hero character, you'll actually start in the Ferrot, and there's a lot of cool little quests and stuff that you can do there that will be of great assistance to you. You also get a bunch of cool little items here that I'll go over in a second. I just don't want to make these videos too long. I know there's some spiders and stuff down here. Okay, so we'll just pull this guy here. So basically, as you can see in the target window, it shows that I cast Tash, right? 17 minutes. So he's attacking me right now. He's trying to kill me, but I can do this. I can cast my Mez, and now he stands there and does absolutely nothing. So that's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. Being able to control what's around you and make battles a little bit more easy to handle for you and your party. So what we'll do is we'll go through these abilities here real quick. So we have Color Conflex, and what that is, it's a point blank area effect stun. So anything around your target from about me to where this monster is will just cease to do something for about 6 seconds. They'll become stunned. Then we have our single target mez, which is chaotic befuddling. You can find this by using the drop down menu here, right clicking on a spell gem and going into direct damage, enthrall, chaotic befuddling. And what this does here, I'll cast it again just to illustrate this. You cast this and then it'll mez your target. It'll also give you 2 charges of something called chaotic gift. So the next 2 damage spells that I cast actually land twice. So it's a really good way to be providing crowd control for your group and still maintaining a good damage output if that's what you're into. Then we also have Docility, which is a similar spell to Color Conflux. So it's a point blank area effect mez. So what that does is it'll affect everything from about me to him again. Instead, it'll mez the target for about 6 seconds again, giving you enough time to mez him again. It's definitely not, it doesn't have enough of a cooldown where you can sit there and just use this button just to win. So it's definitely a stopgap in between, you know, getting everything locked down. And then we have 2 lines of mezzes after this that we can use. We have the wave line of mezzes, which we can get to by going into utility detrimental, enthrall, and then ensorceling wave, and then there's also hypnotic stare. So these 2 spells are almost identical in the way that they function. The only thing that's different about them is the fact that they how they're targeted. So we'll start with stare. Stare, we'll cast that. It pulls up a little green circle on your target window here that you can go and pretty much set underneath the monster. You don't need to have him targeted or anything. And then, boom, him and up to six of his friends are going to be mezzed right in that spot. There are other chanters that prefer the other mez. Just play with both of them. With the other mez is basically the same thing. The only difference is that you need to target the monster, and it will mez up to 6 targets around in the area around that monster. So it's just a difference of targeting. So those are your spells for combat and mezzing. And then we have something as chanters called auras. Auras are something that we can keep up so that our party can get some benefits. So we have mana recursion aura here, and let's see if we can put up another one here. I didn't actually look to see if you can have 2. And what mana recursion aura does is everyone around you, mana reiterate, sorry, I'm using the wrong spell name. Everyone around you in your party gets a chance to hit the target again for bonus damage. So it's basically like if I cast a nuke on this guy, which would actually kill him, I'll show you anyways. It's going to cast your nuke plus one of these charges of mana reiterate. Okay? So this spell I keep on the spell bar because it's got a really short duration. All the other auras, with 1 or 2 exceptions, have a duration of about 30 minutes, so you don't need to keep them up. The other aura that I would recommend keeping up is called Twin Cast Aura. If you're curious about what we get for auras, you can go into the drop-down menu, go to auras, and you can see we have a whole bunch of different stuff. Stuff for charming, mana reiterate, disempowering auras, which drop totems at your feet that you can use to further debuff your enemy. Learner's aura, which gives your party up to 7% more experience. Mana, we have 2. Aura of Abstract Acumen increases your party's base mana pool by about 4,000, and Befuddler's Aura, which increases your party's mana regen by a little bit. Then we have Runes auras, which work the same as Mana Reiterate. Basically, it's a short duration charged aura, kind of like this one here where it's got the charges in the bottom left there, as you can see. So it'll act that way. Oh, oops. I don't really want to do that. But that's your basic spell line for combat. Now, that's not going to cover you for everything. There are different styles and different play styles, of course. I'm just offering you a little bit of a basic setup. Of course, I encourage you to play around with it, see what you like, see what you don't like about it, change it up however you see fit, as there are lots of spells and lots of abilities in EverQuest. The main thing to note is that you're level 85, so you want to be selecting spells roughly in between the 81 to 85 range, as those will be your most powerful abilities. Now, we'll get into AAs. AAs are a little bit of a confusing subject for a lot of people because, well, we have a lot of them. So basically, people are looking at these windows and they're like, well, what do these do? You know, and without actually sitting down and reading what every ability does, it's kind of confusing. So I'll get into the basics here. I've split the AAs into different categories, and we'll start with the basics. So, crowd controlling AAs. For crowd controlling AAs, things that you have been granted. So you have Beam of Slumber, and I'll see if I can demonstrate this right now because it'll work better that way. Sorry, my system isn't really set up for combat for this kind of stuff. So basically, Beam of Slumber, let's hit that. No, don't want to do it for me. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. Okay, so Beam of Slumber, if I would have hit that, I kind of missed. But Beam of Slumber basically has a triangle effect out from your character. I'll kill this UI and I'll show you. So pretty much from your right hand out straight and your left hand out straight, kind of in like a triangle. That's the trajectory of the beam. And basically this is the same kind of idea as your disorient mez, where it only mezzes up to 6 targets for a very short amount of time, everything in front of you. So you want to be thinking about that really carefully while you're aiming that. It's a good O button, like, you know, you're taking damage, you don't want to be taking damage. So that's good. Now, that's for what you have. At later levels, you get an ability called Scintillating Beam. Scintillating Beam is the same idea as Beam of Slumber. It's got a little bit of a faster cooldown on it, so you don't have to wait on this to come back as much. So between the two of them, you usually always have one of them up. The difference between Scintillating Beam and Beam of Slumber is the level that it'll affect. Beam of Slumber will act the same as all of your mezzes, like your mez spells. It'll mez up to the same level, provided you have sunk all the AAs into that. Scintillating Beam will work up until 2 levels below. So at level 100, the max you can mez with that is 98. Scintillating Beam also has a cool little side effect to it, where it will root the monster as well. And then if your friends decide that they want to, you know, wake that up for you, it'll also change to a snare. So you cast Scintillating Beam, your friend hits it, it wakes up, and it becomes snared. So it'll come back slowly to the party nice and quickly. Works the same also if it was to wear off. So that's that. And then we have Beguiler's Banishment and Beguiler's Direct Banishment. And what these are, well, it's easier to show you. Beguiler's Direct Banishment works on one target. See that scorpion? There he goes. He's gone now. It throws him away, puts a root on him, so he's going to stay there, and in a couple seconds he'll actually fade. So he'll actually stop wanting to hurt you, and he'll disappear off your extended target window, your hate window there. And Beguiler's Banishment, is a AE effect. So Cone, similar kind of idea as the one before, except it hits everything in a radius in front of you. So we'll do this now. It'll throw both of them back. So these two abilities are great for getting stuff out of the way. It's great for pulling. It's great for helping split monsters out. But that's your bread and butter right there. I'll let you guys play with that and figure out how you like it. For crowd control, we also have what's called a memory blur. I'll kind of demonstrate this by mezzing that. Oh, wrong spell. That's okay. I'm used to a different hotbar setup. I'm sorry. So, as you see here, this guy's on my target window. He wants to hurt me. So we'll use a memory blur called Fog of Memories. And he'll forget you. So it's called a memory blur. We get another one called Blanket of Forgetfulness at later levels, which is the same idea as Fog of Memories. However, it's an AE version. So pretty basic stuff there, nothing too complicated. And then what we also have, it's what you'll commonly hear referred to as a fade in EverQuest. And what a fade is, basically, same idea as a blur, except it only affects you. So let's say I have hate on this target here. I want to get away from him. I hit an ability called self-stasis. Okay? Self-stasis stuns me for 29 seconds and then clears this out so that it's nice and safe. But we can do that, and then we can, run around and do our thing. We also have friendly stasis. Same basic idea as self-stasis. However, friendly stasis you can use on your friends, or if you're in a pinch, you can target yourself and use it on yourself. Something like that. So there you go. So you can click that off there if you like. Now, there's that. That's everything that we have for crowd control, kind of is. Then you have, we'll go into a defensive kind of stance here. And I'll pull up this hotkey because I find this to be really, really helpful. And basically, as I explain these hotkeys and what they do, this hotkey right here will actually activate all of the AAs that I'm about to describe at the same time. So I'll keep this on the screen here, so while I talk, if you're interested in this hotkey, you can go ahead, write it down, flip over to your other character, whatever, and go ahead and add this in. So basically, for defensive abilities, we have First Spire. It's one of the 3 Enchanter Spires. These Spires all share the same timer, so you have to choose which one you want to use and use it wisely. First Spire, what it does is, if I hit it, and then something strikes me, I have the chance to pop a pet that will attack the monster and try and get its attention off of me. Overall, it's not a highly used AA. This is not really that effective at higher levels, but it's something that we do have, so something to consider. And then we have Color Shock, I believe is what it's called. I have it all hotkeyed up. But basically what this does is, anytime a monster strikes you, it has a chance to be stunned. So it's a good way to kind of protect yourself if you're in a hairy situation. You've got lots of monsters beating on you, you're taking a lot of damage, you want to kind of avoid that. So there's that. And then we have Mind Over Matter. And basically, it's instead of getting struck to your hit points, when you take damage, you take it out of your mana. Now, take this very seriously, as trading your mana away is going to make you very, very weak in combat. You're not going to be able to fight for a little bit here. So, along with that, we have Eldritch Rune, which is just the same thing as your Polychaotic Rune, except it's very big and it stacks. So the two of them actually stack together. But I will go over runes and proper stacking for this level in a different video. Then we have Dimensional Instability. If you activate this, every couple seconds you'll get randomly teleported away. So it's kind of completely random. It's just a good way to get away from an enemy. And it also makes the enemies notice your magical activities a little bit less. So if you're getting a lot of aggro and you're nuking lots and you want to kind of get rid of that aggro a little bit, that's one of the ways we can do that. So that's about that for the defensive AAs, and it looks like you are about done copying that down. So I'm going to close this. Another really cool utility that we have as Chanters is the ability to summon a healing crystal. I'm going to pull this up. I showed this in another video before. Basically, using the potion belt, which is called hit Shift P on your keyboard. You'll pull up your potion belt. You can put items in your potion belt to activate later. But what a lot of people don't do is they don't realize that you can actually hotkey that, and you can put a command line that /potion belt activate number. So the way the potion belt is numbered is from left to right. This would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and obviously on my main enchanter, who I copied this over from, he's got 5. But so you put in this alt activate key, the pause, the auto inventory, and the alt activate, and the potion belt number, sorry, and you are good to go in terms of that. So I'll leave this up for a minute, and I'll kind of explain what this does. So Sanguine Mind Crystal is an AA that we have. You can go ahead and make a hotkey out of the AA window if you want. You can always access your activatable AAs by going into the AA tab and going into class, and then at the bottom left you'll see a thing that says can activate. Anyways, so you can go ahead and summon one of these, put it in your potion belt, and it will actually restore 4,600 hit points when you activate it. So what this hotkey does is it summons you one of these, puts it in your inventory, and uses it right away. So it's a good I need to heal myself button. You can sit there and kind of hit that a couple times if you need a quick heal and your healer's not really paying attention. Because as you play your Enchanter, you'll notice that you are really going to be taking some damage. As a caster, you're right up in the thick of things, you're helping control, and of course you're the center of attention for a lot of different NPCs at one time. So having the ability to heal yourself is kind of nice. We also have the Azure Crystal, same idea as the Sanguine Crystal. I'll summon it. But instead of hit points, it's mana. It costs you more mana to summon this than it gives back, but it's a good way to store up some mana for later usage. So that about covers us for defensive abilities, if you're curious about that. Now let's get into the more offensive cooldowns and some of the stuff that we have for offense. Okay. I'm going to close this out because it looks like you're about done copying that out and I can't see anything. So give me a target. Come back here. I want to play with you. So our scorpion friend here is about to be a victim, if I can get my stuff straight. So basically, for activated abilities for combat, we have quite a few. Now, these are cooldowns. They're not something that you're going to be able to use every fight. Same with the defensives, right? But it's something that we do have. So basically, we'll show you what these are. We have 3 different swarm pets, I guess, if you want to call them. And basically, they're like this. Phantasmal Opponent, which I'll hit that. It's going to summon a version of him that's going to target, or that's going to taunt him and try and tank. But if you notice, if I get in here, he's going to ignore me, kind of, strike me every once in a while. But if you see this, he's a special pet, as he's able to actually taunt it off me. But the best bet for this, when you use this, if you don't want to take damage, is to back up. Because pets or NPCs will always strike a player instead of a person. Then we have Doppelganger. Now pay attention as to what happens when I hit this. I'll hit this, it's going to shadow step me away, and in my place, 2 versions of me, actually, yeah, 2 versions of me are going to spawn. So it's a good, I need to get out of here, distraction technique. I like to kind of be like smoke and mirrors kind of thing. At higher levels, you get something called Illusory Ally, which basically functions the same as Doppelganger to an extent, except it's a little bit different, where it's going to always taunt and try and get that aggro off you. And yeah, that's about it. And then we have something, then we'll get into the activatable abilities here a little bit. So we have Mental Contortion. Mental Contortion is a damage over time spell with it also has the a damage modifier and a chance to hit modifier on it. So basically, it's going to reduce the monster's damage, and it's going to reduce his chance to hit, as well as doing damage on him. I'm not going to quote the numbers on this, because as of right now, it's being told to us that this is going to change a little bit. The numbers on this are going to be a little bit different. So we'll just have to wait and see what the patch notes brings. Thanks to Elderoth, by the way, for addressing this for us. That's really great. Then there are 3 buttons here that you guys do not have, but they will grow with you. So these are a couple AAs that you want to think about. You don't have them yet, but you will. I'm going to mez him because he's annoying me. They are Calculated Insanity, Improved Twincast, and Illusions of Grandeur. Write these down, as you will be wanting to get these as you level. Calculated Insanity is a straight damage modifier for us, so it makes your direct damage do more damage. So then we have Improved Twincast, which gives you a couple charges of the Twincast, similar to that mez that I showed you. So you hit that Improved Twincast, and all of the damage spells that you cast over the next couple seconds, or until it fades, I guess, will be Twincasted. What that means is instead of hitting him once, you'll hit him twice. And then you have Illusions of Grandeur, which is a group spell, so it's a great way to amplify your group's damage. It increases your group's critical chance, percent chance, your group's critical damage, and DOT damage critical chance. So it's a good way to help your party members do more damage. So if you notice your friend is trying to take out a really big name at a higher level there, hit this to give him an extra little bit of hand here. And then we have Third Spire, which is the third one of the spires I was talking about there. Of course, the rules apply that you can only use one of these at a time. You can't, so if you use Third Spire, it's going to block out Second Spire, First Spire. Basically, Third Spire is for your group, and it will give your group mates 7% chance to crit more often. So giving them a little bit of a boost. It's definitely not anything that's substantial by any means, but it's something that we do have, so it's something to take advantage of. Then we have Silent Casting, and Silent Casting basically is, well, as the name states, you cast that and you do very little hatred over the next little while. So monsters will almost ignore your actions. It's not like you can just sit there and not be on aggro, but if you're on aggro and you notice your tank is struggling to hold it off other people, or maybe you're about to go postal and hit your burn keys there and go beast mode, hit silent casting there, and you'll be able to avoid some of that unwanted hate. So that is really all you have for DPS AAs. And oh, you have your robe, which is also kind of a 2 thing, 2 for 1. So your robe, you'll notice in some of your items there that you get clicky effects and stuff like that, buffs and stuff. Every robe for the class-specific armor will have a similar version to this. They just increase in power. Basically, what the robe does is it puts a debuff on the monster. I'll show you here. Puts a debuff on the monster, changes your illusion, which you can block if you hate the thing, which I do. Puts the buff on the monster, which makes damage affect him a little bit more, particularly with chromatic nukes, which are what our nukes are based off of. And it also gives your party a significant amount of mana back for a couple seconds. So it's basically a 2 for 1. So you're increasing your party's damage and you're giving them more mana back. So that's a win-win for everybody. And then this AA you will not have yet, but it's something to consider. Let me think. I'm getting the name right on this. Let me look. Sorry, I'm used to looking at a different screen here. So let's. It's called Chromatic Haze. Chromatic Haze allows the next damage spell that you cast to do more damage, just base damage. So you hit that, and everyone in your party, the next spell that they cast will do more damage. So it's a nice little trick there. But that's pretty much it for combat abilities, except, oh, I missed one. Forced rejuvenation. So let's see if I can illustrate this. So basically what this does is you'll notice your spells have cooldowns on them. So if I cast, when you mem it up, the spell is gray there. It says 14 seconds, 12 seconds, right? If I hit Forced Rejuvenation, boom, I can use it right now. So it's a good way to get your critical spells back, your stuns back, whatever you need to get back. Of course, that has its own cooldown, which is sizable. So just think about that when you're about to use it. So there you go for your offensive AAs. And now we can go into the more utility kind of mana and buff AAs. So like I had said before, we have Spires. Second Spire of Enchanting. I'm not in a group, so it doesn't actually show that hotkey. Actually, I'll just give it to you. So basically, Second Spire increases your group's mana regen by 300 per tick for up to 1 minute. So a tick in EverQuest is 6 seconds. So you get 300 mana back every 6 seconds for a minute. So yeah, there you go on that one. And that'll increase everyone in your party's mana back. Or a cool little trick is if you target somebody else and then hit that, you can actually give that to another group if you so wish. And then of course we have our mana draw. Mana draw is basically, as it sounds, you draw mana up from your surroundings and you get a good chunk of your mana back. So you're low on, you're in combat, you're low on mana, everything is kind of, you know, slipping out of control, you need some juice, or maybe you died, you need some juice, hit mana draw, and you'll be good to go. And then of course, utilities that we all take for granted. Group perfected levitation will levitate your entire party. Group perfected invisibility will make you invisible to most creatures. There are some creatures out there that can see through this, so don't just assume that you are invisible to everything, particularly undead. We also have, oh no, you don't get it, actually, sorry. Group perfected invisibility versus undead. So that's something you might want to think about if you're fighting in areas with a lot of undead. So, what else have I not covered here? Oh, and then of course we have our buffs. So if you're looking through your gear as you just create your heroic character, if you're reading some of the stuff that's on there, you'll notice that a lot of your non-visible slots, and what that means is like your earrings, your mask, your necklace, your cloak, your shoulders, your rings, and your range item will all have clicky buffs on them. So those are something that you can drop into your hotbar similar to what I've done here. And you can do that just by kind of dragging and holding there, and it'll kind of pop up onto your window. But we also have an AA called Veil of Mind Shadow. What this does is it's basically a special rune that you can put on yourself that'll absorb a percentage of incoming damage. Not all of it. It'll absorb a certain percentage, and then when that is all expired and stuff like that, it'll fade away. So basically, it's a good way to absorb some damage, you know, soften the hits on your little dress-wearing caster there so you can absorb some and make sure that it's all good on the up and up. So, that being said, I believe that is all of the AAs. If I missed any or if there's any I didn't cover properly, please let me know. Oh yeah. Glyph Spray. Glyph Spray is a buff, a mass group buff. It's a spell rune, so it'll save your group from spell damage. Similar to the Veil of Mind Shadow idea, it only absorbs a percentage, but it's still nice to have. And then, of course, you have, do you get this? Yeah, you get Nightmare Stasis. Nightmare Stasis is just an AA single target mez. I don't really use it that often, so I kind of, I take that for granted, I guess. My apologies. So that brings us to the close of the Startup Spell and Activated AA ability video. Guys, I will be making more. I really do plan on it. So just keep it locked. Subscribe to my channel here, and we'll try our best to make sure that we get all the content out in good order. Of course, if you ever have any Enchanter-based questions, you can post them on the forums there, post in the thread that this is under, send me an in-game email by typing in the email inbox soe.eq.bristol.dandin, and you can reach me directly there, or you can send me an email at dandingaming@gmail.com, and I will gladly answer any questions you guys might have. And for that, right now, that will be the end of our video, and we'll see you guys next time. Good luck and have fun.